Dawn Treader Stories present to you a story entitled The Weight of Knowing. Chapter 1. In the deepest heart of the enchanted forest, where the trees seemed older than the stars, lived Korath, a centaur whose gift was the reading of the future. For many years, the creatures of the forest flocked to him with questions about the seasons, the fate of their harvests, and omens that might shift the delicate balance of the world. Yet, with every answer Korath gave, he grew a little more tired. Rain will come, but not too soon, he would tell the squirrels. Winter will linger longer than you'd like, he would assure the bears. His predictions were accurate. But it didn't matter. They never listened. They would plant too early, hunt too late, or dismiss his words as trivial. Seasons came and went, like breaths, and with each passing, the importance of foreknowledge dulled in Korath's mind. Why bother, he muttered to himself one autumn morning, as the forest bathed in gold and amber light. The wind will blow. The snow will fall. None of them care. And soon enough neither will I. The whispers began among the dryads first. He's fading, they said to the leaves. The naiads murmured it in the streams, he's slipping from this world. Korath heard these whispers, and at times he wondered if they were right. He felt his spirit ebb like the tide leaving the shore. Perhaps it was time for him to leave, to walk into the shadows beyond the edge of the forest and forget the weight of prophecy entirely. And then, one morning everything changed. Chapter 2. He had gone to the lake as usual. The water was cold, biting against his lips as he bent down to drink. A shiver ran through him, and as he lifted his head, he saw her shimmering against the water's reflection as if she had stepped from a dream. She was a centauress, her hair the color of dawn and her eyes like the deep, uncharted forest at night. Korath had heard of centauresses, but they were rare, elusive beings. Some said they were myths. Yet here she was as real as the earth beneath his hooves. Her name was Thera, and when she smiled, Korath felt something long dead within him stir to life. Days blurred into nights as Korath wooed her. They ran together beneath the canopy of ancient trees, raced alongside rivers, and shared laughter beneath moonlight. For the first time in years, Korath felt something greater than mere existence. He felt joy, and hope, and the sweetness of possibility. Thera responded to him with warmth mirroring his affections. She was wild and tender all at once, and Korath knew that the future, with all its shifting tides, held nothing as precious as this love blossoming between them. But then came the visions. They started as flickers in his dreams, like embers catching fire. The sky filled with blackened clouds, and in their billowing depths, Korath saw strange, terrible things. A king, crowned with shadow, falling from his throne. A sword plunged into the heart of hope itself. The enchanted forest, burning, its creatures fleeing into the smoke. At the center of it all stood Thera. Or not just her, but a figure tied to her in ways that Korath could not untangle. It was as if she were the pivot upon which the whole tragedy balanced. When Korath awoke, gasping for breath, the visions followed him into the daylight. They swirled in every shadow, haunted the curve of every branch. He tried to push them away, to convince himself that love was worth more than omens. But the images kept returning, darker and sharper, whispering that the world would soon be undone. And worse still, he felt the old gift stirring again, fully alive and angry. He could no longer ignore what he saw. Chapter 3. Why do you look so troubled? Thera asked one evening, her voice soft. They lay beneath a canopy of stars, their breath mingling with the night breeze. I see things, Korath murmured, almost ashamed to admit it. Things that I do not wish to see. Thera brushed her fingers gently through his mane. Then don't look, she said. Stay here with me. The future is only a dream until it happens. Let it stay that way. Korath wanted to believe her. Gods, he wanted to believe her. But the visions tightened their grip, pulling at the corners of his mind like claws. He could not look away. He could not pretend he hadn't seen what he had seen. And so the question came, sharp as a dagger, what would you do to keep this love? Would he ignore the omens and stay with Thera, knowing that the world might crumble? Or would he walk away from her to try to change the course of fate? Chapter 4. Days passed, and the forest seemed to grow quieter, as if holding its breath. Korath knew what the signs meant now. They pointed to a war that would sweep through the land, consuming all in its path. The enchanted kingdom would fall, and in the ruins, hope would wither and die. He saw Thera standing at the heart of it, her eyes full of sorrow. She did not cause the ruin, but she was tied to it in ways Korath could not unravel. Perhaps she was a linchpin, a thread in the fabric of destiny that, if pulled, would unravel everything. Should he tell her? Should he leave her? Chapter 5. One morning Korath stood by the lake, staring into the water. His reflection wavered, distorted by ripples. He felt as though he were standing on the edge of two worlds, one where he stayed with Thera and one where he walked away. Thera approached quietly, her expression unreadable. "You've been distant," she whispered. "I feel you slipping away." "I saw something in the future," Korath confessed. His voice trembled, the weight of it almost unbearable. "Something terrible. And you're at the center of it. I don't know how or why. But if we stay together, everything might fall apart." Thera was silent for a long moment. Then she said, "And if you leave?" Korath shook his head. "I don't know. Maybe the future will change. Maybe not. But I can't bear the thought of losing you and knowing I could have stopped it." Tears welled in Thera's eyes. "So this is how it ends," she whispered. "You leave me hoping it will save us all?" "It's the only way I know how to try," Korath said, his heart breaking with every word. Thera closed the distance between them, pressing her forehead gently against his. "Then go," she whispered. "But know this, if love cannot defy fate, then nothing can." Korath swallowed hard, unable to speak. He turned away, his hooves heavy against the earth, and began to walk. The sound of Thera's quiet sobs echoed behind him, each one a knife to his soul. He didn't look back. Chapter 6. Seasons passed, and just as Korath had foreseen, the war came. The enchanted kingdom was razed, the forests burned, and hope seemed to vanish beneath the ashes. Korath wandered far from the ruins, his heart heavy with the weight of what might have been. Yet, amidst the chaos, he began to see strange things, small sparks of resistance, creatures banding together in defiance of the darkness. Somewhere in the ashes, he saw a new kind of hope beginning to bloom, fragile but stubborn. And in those moments, he realized something. Fate might be inevitable, but love, even love sacrificed, left echoes. Perhaps what he had shared with Thera was not the end, but the beginning of something deeper. The future remained uncertain, a storm waiting on the horizon. But Korath knew one thing: he had chosen love once, even if it meant loss. And perhaps, just perhaps, love would find a way to defy the stars after all. He carried that hope with him as he wandered, waiting for the seasons to turn once more. And somewhere, beneath the ashes, the seeds of a new world stirred.